Week 9 is upon us. Welcome to the Better-in-Laws podcast. I'm Tuck Silva, joined alongside my brother-in-law, Matt Prisco. Matt, how are we?
Doing good, buddy. Happy November.
Happy November, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. If you got
cold.
If you're happy about November.
Freezing.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Freezing.
It was frigid walking over from our normal parking spot, I might say.
Yeah, it sure was.
I should have probably packed a little coat, if you would.
It didn't help.
I was not ready for that. Caught you by surprise. But either way, enough of the small talk. Let's recap quickly. A winning week for both of us.
Yep.
Both going 3-2 for the week. So take us through our week 8 picks real quick.
Yep, 3-2, also known as 60%. We take that every week, Tuck.
Yep.
We'll start with you, buddy. We had the Rams plus 6.5, best bet. Tough one there. Dallas just came to play and just demolished the Rams.
Just real quick, that's back-to-back weeks of my best bets being completely demolished within 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah, it was quick.
The Lions 2 weeks ago got smoked by the Ravens. And then Dallas, same thing. Rams just got absolutely killed by Dallas. All within 5 minutes. The game was over.
Yeah, it's quick. It was quick.
So I'm taking a different approach on my best bet this week.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it later at the end of the podcast, but continue with your recap.
All right, buddy. For a couple of wins here, you had the Eagles minus 6.5. Nice comeback there. Was sweating that one for you for a bit. But in the
never
end,
a doubt.
But in the end, Philly, they were just better than Washington.
Yep.
Jags minus 2.5. We had that double like. That was a nice cash. Pretty simple play there. It turned out to be an easy free day there. Niners minus 5.5. Outright loss with that one. And the Lions and Raiders under 46. Nice Monday night win with a TD called back for a hold. Yep. Well, we take those wins when we get them.
What did I say was one of the reasons why that under would hit? It's because of the Raiders.
The Raiders.
They're just the Raiders.
Just the Raiders.
And now your coach is fired and your GM's fired.
And your quarterback.
And you have a pissed-off stud wideout.
Well, they benched the quarterback.
Did they officially bench him?
Benched him.
So it's going to be Aiden
O'Connell.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yep.
See how that one plays out.
Yep. So we'll get to that game today.
Raiders are so stupid. Like, why wouldn't you just trade Josh Jacobs if he's on an expiring contract? What are you doing?
After not wanting to sign him all offseason.
If you're just throwing in the flag on the season, firing your coach and GM. Well, all right. So what are we looking at for the season overall in terms of it?
For you, we have you at 25, 14-1, just stellar still. So 3-2 is another winning week. We take that. To recap my bets real quick. Best bet, Seattle minus 3. That was a win. Again, numbers matter. That game closed 4.5. So tough. If you don't listen on Wednesdays, well, you should, because numbers matter.
This is why we do it on Wednesday.
Why we do it. We try to get ahead of the moves, ahead of the right side. Don't always get there, but you know what? This one, it mattered. Seattle minus 3 was a winner for me. Baltimore minus 8, one of the worst losses I've had in a very long time.
That one hurt.
I mean, 31-15 with 1:33 to go, 16-point game. I'm like, okay, push it worse.
Definition
Arizona,
of a garbage time backdoor.
Oh, yeah, Arizona touchdown. Misses the 2. I said, okay, I'll go put the kids to bed because it's a 10-point game. There's a minute left in this thing. It's over. Nope. Nelson Aguilar messes up the onside kick. Arizona recovers it, goes down, kicks a field goal just to get under 8.
Yeah. And
try again. That was a tough one to swallow, so one of my 2 losses there. Jags, we talked about that one. Niners, Cincy, over 45 hit. And the fade of the Chargers, because I was mad at them last week, was a bad idea. Chicago plus 8.5, just terrible.
I did want to get your Niners take, but I don't know if we'll have time to do that because they are on a bye week, but maybe we could touch on that and their acquisition of Chase Young in next week's show. Because I said that to you going into the trade deadline. All they need is to make a significant trade on defense, and that they did. So we'll touch on that next week because there's no point talking about it now because they're on the bye.
We'll get there.
So overall for the season, what are we looking at?
21-19 for me, 6-2 best bets. So I'll take that. Very excited about hitting the best bet again.
And for me?
Best bets for you, 2-6 on the year.
Overall?
25, 14-1. I did mention that already.
Did you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hosts that aren't listening.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
I didn't tell your best bets, though, so my bad there. But, hey, you're the better record this year. You're struggling on your best bets. I'm coming up, but have good best bets.
So if you're listening and you're like, hey, what the hell's going on with his best bets? I don't know. I do not know what the hell is going on with my best bets. I'm taking a different approach this week. We'll talk about that later. But if you're, the gambler and you're seeing this guy's on a complete cold streak with his best bets, then fade. Feel free to fade. But the rest of my picks, hey, what was it? 25 and what?
We got you at exactly 25, 14, and 1.
All right.
Really good.
So play my other ones. Don't play my best bets or just fade me completely. Unless I turn it around this week. So, all right. So if you are joining us for the first time, we give out our 5 likes right off the bat, which we'll do so in a moment. Then we'll get to the rest, and then we'll wrap up the podcast with our best bet of the week. Bye weeks for week 9. We have the Broncos on a bye, Lions on a bye, Jaguars and 49ers I mentioned. Looking ahead to next week, the Chiefs will be on a bye, Rams, Dolphins, and Eagles will all be on byes on week 10. But let's get right after it with our likes. Matt, why don't you kick us off this week?
All right, I'll kick us off. Let's kick it off, Tuck, with I'll go to the 4 p.m. slate, possibly the game of the day. It's going to be with this. We finally get a good card in the NFL where there's some good football games. I'm looking forward to this game, so let's kick it off with this. Philadelphia Eagles -3 at home against the Dallas Cowboys. And Tuck, I am taking the Eagles in this one. So my power ratings, the way I make the game, Philly -4. So I'm getting a point value, and that's a very extreme value of a point when you're talking about from 4 to 3, the 2 key numbers. 3 a much more key number than 4, but see so many games land with those numbers. Really like that. I get the better team at home. Yes, it's a division game. I'm actually going to start this, though, by telling you why this game is going to be closer than I'm gonna sweat this one out, I think, a little bit.
And that's why I'll let you finish, but that's why I stayed away from it. I'm also leaning Eagles, but the points slightly concern me here. But go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So division game, rivalry game. We all know how important this game is in the division. But Jalen Hurts' knee, something's not right there. Only 2 design carries last week for Jalen Hurts, especially when they're losing and they really need him to get running. He didn't. We even saw a tush-push fumble, Tuck. Not sure if that was related to the knee. Yeah, he fumbled on the tush-push.
Good.
And Washington recovered it. Though later on, they gave the ball to DeAndre Swift, which was pretty cool to see, as much as I hate that play. Out of the tush-push formation. Pretty cool move. The Dallas pass rush against an immobile Hurts scares me a little bit. Could be a factor in this game. They can get after it. And if Hurts can't move around like he normally can, I do worry about it. So why do I like it? I'm banking on Philly's D here, Tucker. I just think they can shut down Dallas in key areas. Philly's got the best O-line still, but starting with the D, I just think they have better weapons on the defensive side of the ball. Their D-line is strong. Dallas is going to really need Tony Pollard to get going in this game in order for them to win. CeeDee Lamb,
he's been surprisingly quiet.
Yeah, and look, CeeDee Lamb's been pretty damn hot. As hot as just about anyone, except for the guy on the other side of the ball, A.J. Brown, who's been unstoppable. So, overall, talent-wise, I think Philly's got more offensive weapons to be worried about than Dallas.
Oh, definitely.
Dallas, they're kind of like Miami in a way. They've beat up on a bunch of teams that, quite honestly, aren't that good. And they got taken to the woodshed by the good teams. And I'd classify Philly as one of the, if not the best team in football right now. I power rate them as the best team. So even with an immobile Hurts, I still think he can get the ball to Dallas Goedert. Devonta Smith, we saw him get back on track last week against Washington. A.J. Brown's been an absolute stud. Like I said, the O-line is the best in football, so I think they get Swift involved. I think with a field goal spread in this one, I have to take the better team at home. So give me Philly -3 as my first like of the show.
Yeah, my only concern with the points here is you could see that. I agree this is going to be a very tight game, but I mean, looking at it last year or 2022 between these two teams, they split it, and they won where they were supposed to win, Philly and then Dallas. They won respectively at their home sites.
Yep.
There were 2-point conversions in both those games. I'm looking back at it. It looks like 26-17. Philly won. I'm pretty sure there was a 2-point conversion. I can't tell. I can't pull it up. But looking at the score, it's just 26. Okay, that's weird. And then 28. Something's going on there. Excuse me. What was it? Where the hell was it? 40-34. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was looking at the Giants game.
Yep.
So this kind of feels like it's a divisional game. Two of the top 3 teams in the NFC, and this is where you see some trickery. catching defenses off guard with the 2-point conversion or something like that.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if we saw something similar like that. And then, maybe Philly wins by 2, for instance. But if you like the team, then go for it. It was just it was a slight hesitation on my part. That's all.
I get it. I just think I have to take Philly at 3. For me, it just my numbers support it, and it's such a key number. And I play off my numbers, so that's what I'm going with. Philly.
Yeah, and Dallas really has to get Tony
Let's
Pollard.
See, I got to see
here.
Dallas beat someone first.
That too. Yeah, that too. Especially on the road.
Yep.
Especially on the road because they've won now 11 straight in Dallas, by the way. So there's that. My first like of the week, I'm looking at the 9:30 game in Germany, the NFL's first game, I believe, ever in Germany, correct?
I think they played one last year.
Maybe they did. Either way. Chiefs -1.5. I like this bounce back spot here with the Chiefs, who lost a divisional matchup against a very poor Broncos team, but Broncos always play up and are ready to play against the Chiefs. And I feel like in this one, the public pick is going to be on the Dolphins. And this morning, by the way, the Chiefs were at -2.5, so you're seeing more money come in on the Dolphins there. But let me remind everybody, the Dolphins have beaten the Chargers by 2 points, the Patriots twice, the Broncos, the Giants, and the Panthers. That is it in terms of their victories. So they're taking care of the teams that they're supposed to, yes, but they've lost to the Jaguars, they've lost to the Eagles, and they've lost to the Bills. I'm a big fan of this team. I think they could go deep into the playoffs. I love the comeback story of Tua. I love Coach Mike McDaniel. Their offense might be the best in the league, but this is the Chiefs we're talking about here. This is the defending Super Bowl champions. They're on a national or international spotlight now, and I think it's a good bounce back spot for this offense. I know the Chiefs' offense has been reeling all year, but I think they'll be fine versus this Dolphins secondary. The Dolphins, they rank 23rd against opposing wideouts, and they rank 23rd against opposing tight ends as well. Now, and they are middle of the pack against running backs. They are 5th, however, against opposing quarterbacks, but look at, again, who they played in terms of the quarterback play. So give me the better quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Give me the better coach in Andy Reid. Give me the experience. And oh, by the way, the Chiefs are 16-3 straight up after a loss during Mahomes' tenure as starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. So give me the Chiefs -1.5 over the Dolphins.
All right, buddy. I'm on the other side on this one. I didn't like it. Not official play for me. I was waiting for the market to potentially get to 3 here, and it would have been a play. But for the reasons that you mentioned is the reasons I'm off it, right? The experience of the Chiefs, the way they bounce back after a loss. So that keeps me off it. I looked at this game from a different angle. I looked at it as like, right now, I think Miami's just a better football team. I think we're seeing Kansas City. Like, yes, Denver plays them well. They always have.
Whose defense is better, though?
Kansas City, no question. However, they get Ramsey back last week. They get Xavier Howard, Connor Williams, Javon Holland, all potentially back for Week 9. That's
not confirmed, but yeah.
But all looking and trending in the right direction based off the comments. But yes, not confirmed. So it's hard to say, like, Miami's stats on D with those 4 guys being involved as part of the 11 that really haven't been there most of the season, if at all. That was kind of a part that I was looking at it for Miami. I also think this is just a huge game for Miami. Like, you can't just beat up on the bottom feeders of the league. Same thing with Dallas.
I think it's a huge game for Kansas City, too, though.
Yes, it is.
After losing to the Broncos?
It is.
I think it's a huge game for the Chiefs.
It is from the playoff seeding, no doubt. The division's an absolute train wreck, so they don't have to worry about that. But, like, from a AFC playoffs standpoint, this is a huge game for both teams, right? Because you're seeing both division leaders and then other teams that are playing, like Baltimore and the way the Jaguars are playing. Like, the 1 seed's very much available in the AFC, as well as like the higher seeds as well. So this is a huge game. I'm going to take it off now that it's gone to 1.5. It's no play for me. I would not play the Dolphins at 1.5. Again, I wanted a 3. I lean that way at 2.5. 1.5 is an absolute no play. That's the number I made the game. So take that as you will, Tuck. If you like the Chiefs, go with Tucker's back.
I'm taking them. That was my gut, and I don't care if it opened 3 and now it's at 1.5 favoring the Chiefs. I don't care. I'm taking the Chiefs. Give me the more experienced team. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I still like the Dolphins, and for the year, this is not an anti-Dolphins thing besides their opponents. I do like them a lot as a team. I'm just taking the experienced team. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
Second like for you, Matthew. What are you looking at?
All right, my friend.
Because it's a double like.
It's a double like. And
we have 2 double likes.
2 double likes looking at the board here. This is great. Well, two games minus with the 4-bye teams. So shortened card. So glad we're together on a couple of these. The first one, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints, Tucker. Let's just not overcomplicate this, right? The Saints minus 7.5 against the Bears at home.
This should be 9, something like that.
That's what I make the game 9. It's an auto. We're getting close to an auto fade the Bears on the road type situation. 2 different teams. Tyler Badgett came back to earth real quick on Sunday Night Football against the Chargers defense, who is quite honestly just not very good. So back-to-back road games for the Bears. I like the spot here for New Orleans going home. And the Bears playing one of the better defenses in the NFL in this one. So not only Tyler Badgett looking at the Saints defense, which is a lot more difficult than the Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. Now they get the Saints in the Dome. Not a fun spot for them to go. And the Saints offense woke up last week. And actually, the last couple weeks, they put it together in the second half.
Kamara's looking like the Kamara of old.
He looks great.
They're all accustomed to him.
Well,
Michael Thomas looks fine, too.
Yeah, Derek Carr is the king of drop-off passes.
And Chris Olave had a ball hit him in his helmet last week, right? And that should have been a 50-yard touchdown, I think.
Yep.
So, he's getting plenty of targets still, and I'm not too worried about him.
Yeah, I agree. Just to wrap up this, a couple stats. Bears just brutal ATS. Last 16 games, 3-12-1 ATS.
They're 6-15 ATS against the spread in their last 21 road games.
Yep.
And they have lost 6 of their last 8 road games by double digits.
Yeah, that's impressive, Chicago. Just to finalize a couple numbers that I really made me bet this game. Saints 5th best defense in total yards and 6th yards per play. The Bears defense 23rd in total yards, 24th in yards per play. That's a huge mismatch in favor of the Saints. This game has blowout written all over it. I'm here for it. Give me the Saints minus 7.5. Love this. I love this card.
I would be stunned if this was still at 7.5 by Sunday. There's no chance.
It's up at 8.
Really.
It's up to 8 in some spots, but then it's trickled back down to 7.5.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't
Anything
see
under
it. Like,
10.
are people really think that the acquisition of Montez Sweat is going to be a factor in the Bears defense this week? I don't even know if he's going to play. I don't know. I don't understand the Bears side of this thing. So double for the boys here.
Let's go.
Saints minus 7.5. Very good.
Hey, Tuck.
What?
I'm looking at the card, and we got another double next.
Another double You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, you kick this one off.
Give me the Seahawks plus 6, which you can get on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I think there was still 5.5. Or the Ravens were favored by 5.5.
I'll tell you right now the latest. You get definitely 6 on DraftKings, 5.5.
Seahawks plus 6.
Mostly everywhere. BetOnline's got a 6. MGM's got a 6. A juiced 5.5 at FanDuel. So that's starting to move towards 6.
So Ravens have a big divisional game next week with the Browns and the Seahawks. They are 19-5 against the spread as an underdog of 4 or more since 2011, which is incredible.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the Ravens, they are 4-13 ATS. That's 4-13 against the spread in their last 17 games as a favorite of 4 or more in that same threshold there. Look at we talked about it earlier. Look at the backdoor that the Ravens allowed last week to the Cardinals. That's just embarrassing, really, if you ask me. This also screams of a tight interconference matchup, and I could see either side winning by merely a field goal. Now, I don't know if the Seahawks win the game, but can they keep it within 6 points? Yeah, absolutely. I think they can.
Yeah. This one was simple. This is another one. Keep it simple. It's too many points. I made the game Baltimore minus 4. 6, not as much of a key number as 7, but we'll take 6. It's a decent enough number. I don't think it's going to get to 7 in the market, to be totally honest with you. If it does, I'm going to bury it again. I've already hit it pretty large. Lamar's now 17-1 against the NFC in his career. That scares me a little bit, but I'm not fading that. I'm just fading Baltimore as a whole. I don't really attribute that
to anything, really.
I do. We talked about it last week against the Cardinals. When you don't see a guy like Lamar, he's tough to just simulate, right? But Seattle can play these games. This is the tight. You said it. They went into Detroit week 2 and beat Detroit in overtime. They were +6 in that game. I took Seattle in that game. I liked them, and I like them here. Seattle's been good to me all year when I'm on them or against them. I feel like I have a good vibe with them. +6 here, just too many points. The other thing I like in Seattle for Seattle, and not something that's going to show up in the stats, but just the boost of trading for Leonard Williams. That's the GM telling that team, like, hey, we believe in you. We're investing. You're first place in the NFC West now. Go battle. We believe in you. We think you can take this division. We think you can make some noise. I think it's going to be a very close game. I could see this game being a field goal game either way. Yeah. So 6 for me was just easy to give me the points.
Seattle's a legit team. I think they're going to be there, towards the end of the playoffs there. I don't know, if they'll advance to the NFC Championship game, they're going to be right there.
The biggest thing for me is Geno Smith. Can he actually, he's still, even last week, for much of that game against Cleveland, they went up 14-0, and for most of the game, he could do nothing. Now, Cleveland's defense is good, very good, but, there were advantages there. He just didn't play his best game, but at the end, he came up big with a win.
I wonder if Pete Carroll came out with a pass-heavy strategy for Geno Smith last week in anticipation of this game, knowing they're facing a good defense with the Browns, see what Geno Smith can do with this pass game. Again, same thing with Baltimore. They rank first against opposing quarterbacks overall. But keep in mind, they haven't faced a ton of legit quarterbacks so far this year. They faced a banged-up Joe Burrow, rookie C.J. Stroud in week 1, Anthony Richardson in week 3. I forget who started for the Browns in week 4, but I want to say that was P.J. Walker came into that one.
That was DTR. That's the first game Watson was ruled out.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. Ryan Tannehill with Tennessee, although that might have been Malik Willis. No, that was Malik Willis. He came in when Tannehill was hurt.
Tannehill played, but Willis came in that game. Yeah.
And then Jared Goff, they just got his best day there. And then Arizona last week with Josh Jacobs, who they allowed 2 passing touchdowns to.
Yeah.
So, they haven't faced many legit quarterbacks at all. But Ravens defense is solid, but it's just worth mentioning.
Yep, for sure.
It's as simple as that. So give us +6 Seahawks double like.
Love it.
Again. Let's continue right along here. Who is your 4th like here?
I'm going to go to Monday Night Football. And we get the Chargers going to New York to play the New York Jets. And the line is the Chargers -3. And my bet, shocker, is on the Jets +3. Look, the Jets, their defense plays good quarterbacks very well, especially at home and especially in primetime. Let's take a look. Josh Allen, week 1 versus the Jets. Loss, struggled. Patrick Mahomes versus the Jets. Chiefs won by 3. Nice little ref show at the end to keep the ball out of the Jets' hand when they were getting hot. But they slowed down Mahomes. They kept that one close and with an opportunity to win that game. How about Jalen Hurts? Jets win that game outright. So now we get the Chargers coming to town, with the most inconsistent team in the history of the world, with Justin Herbert, and they're 3-point favorites? What? I make this game pick 'em. So, this line doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm absolutely taking the Jets pretty large here. The Jets giving up 4.8 yards per play on defense. That's 4th in the NFL. Chargers giving up 5.9, 30th in the NFL. That is a massive gap. The Jets 5th against the pass, allowing just 184 yards a game. And for a team that's struggling to run the ball, even with Eckler kind of breaking out a little bit against Chicago, let's see you do it against the Jets. On the reverse, I think it's a big Breece Hall game. I think he's going to run all over this Chargers defense. I think this, too, is a game where Zach Wilson can get going in the pass game. I don't think it's going to be 100 yards for Zach Wilson and just run the ball. I think he can make some plays. You saw it at the end of the game and into overtime last week with the Jets. He can make plays if he's got some time. He's getting better. It was an ugly game to watch, but against the Chargers defense, I think he can get going. I like Garrett Wilson to have a nice game in this game. And just overall, I think the Jets stifle the Chargers offense. They win an ugly game. Something like a 20-17 feels right to me here. Give me the Jets plus the 3 at home. I think they win outright.
I don't hate the money line either, honestly.
Yeah, I think they win outright.
I don't have a pick in this, but I really like your side of this. And the last time that we saw the Jets on Monday Night Football was their injury to Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
And they won.
And they still won.
So this team definitely gets all jacked up when they are on primetime television. Chargers just spanked the Bears home on primetime television, yes, but again, going on the road,
Come
East
across
Coast,
the country.
You got to factor that in. So I could totally see this Jets defense flustering Justin Herbert there, and I still don't believe in the Chargers.
Nope, me either. And a little bit of positive news for the Jets locker room and those players, with Aaron Rodgers saying he does believe he's going to be back this season
I think
and
that's
play.
bullshit,
We'll see.
honestly.
Do you see him warming up? I don't know what the hell that guy's doing.
I think it's to keep the team invested.
Fine,
and
but whatever it works,
it's working.
It's working.
Right?
The team's winning games.
But I don't think he's going to be coming back. I mean, he'd be the first to do so that
Be
quickly.
insane.
So yeah, I do like your side of that. Not an official like for me, but that is your fourth like, Jets +3. Yep. My fourth like, give me the Browns Cards under 37.5 points. The Cards will have a new quarterback at the helm this week, 1 week ahead of the return of Kyler Murray. Joshua Dobbs was traded to the Minnesota Vikings ahead of the trade deadline on Halloween. Clayton Tune will be making his NFL debut, I believe. He's a rookie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be not a lot of points for the Cardinals. And you still have P.J. Walker on the other side of it for the Browns. So I just don't expect a lot of points on either side for this offense, these offenses.
Yep.
The Cardinals' road games, they have seen an average combined score of 38.1 points, thanks to scoring 16 or fewer points in all 4 road games. And again, that was with a better quarterback in Joshua Dobbs. And the Browns at home have combined for 31.1 points and have allowed just 12.8 points per game at home. So I think this is more of a 21-7, 24-9 type of game. Just a defensive stand by the Cleveland Browns. I think it's too many points. This should be closer to like 35.5, something like that. So give me the under, 37.5, Browns Cardinals here.
Yeah, no play for me here. Is Watson back in this? I heard they might rest him for the Ravens game.
No, that whole situation's strange.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I think he's banged up, but I think there's also some animosity between he and the coaching staff or he and the front office. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I agree. Something weird there, but I think they're going to rest him anyway, so I like it even a little bit more. Just even as bad as Watson's played.
Even if this was a Watson playing, I still wouldn't change my pick.
Yeah, no, I don't think the Cardinals are doing much in this game. Let's just say that.
No, not at all. My only hesitation is like if the Browns defense just has like 2 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I do like the under very much.
Yep.
In this game. Before we get to our best bet to wrap up the show, excuse me while I let this seltzer sift through my body
there
here.
You go. You need it. You need the seltzer.
Yeah.
Pick me up.
Too many bubbles going on down there. Let's go to the rest here. So let's circle back and go to the 1 o'clock slate since I had a pick in the 9:30 game here. This was close to a like for me. Commanders going on the road to take on the New England Patriots. Patriots, for some reason, 3.5-point home favorites here. A concussed Devontae Parker. You just lost Kendrick Bourne for the year. Commanders, on the other side of it, just traded their 2 best defensive players with Montez Sweat, as I mentioned earlier, and Chase Young. Heading to the 49ers here. Point total is 41. And I was really close to liking the Commanders plus 3.5. Just couldn't get myself to do it because I don't know how the Commanders react to the trades that I mentioned of their best players, really. So I'm staying away from it. I would lean the Commanders, though, if I had to. What is your thoughts on this game?
I lean the Pats, but not at that number. I was at 3 yesterday, and I'm like,
3 was like tempting.
Play this game, and I hate that I'm saying that. Even with the trades, even if they didn't trade, like I don't know. This game just feel like I am so down on Washington. It's I've seen this for a couple
they
weeks,
always show
like,
up against Philly. It seems like
that division game they always play them weird. That's the total stay away for me unless you're taking Washington 90% of the time for me. I can't.
Yeah,
but
I just think the Pats are that bad, though, that the Commanders could very well cover this.
Did you know that the Patriots are the only team in the AFC, like worst team in the AFC now? 2 wins. Everyone else. In the
I'm
AFC,
very well aware of that. Thank you.
No,
yes.
Just like it's actually stunning about the AFC that the worst team has. No one else has 2 wins. Everyone's got 3 or more. I don't know how it fell apart so quick.
The other angle is, speaking of the trade deadlines, that the Patriots made no moves. So you wonder if that's going to play well in the locker room. They did not, hold a fire sale and sell off the Josh Uches.
Yeah.
And who else am I blanking on? Kyle Duggars of the world. Michael Owenu was another
Zeke.
rumored. Zeke was another
I didn't understand the Zeke rumors. Anyone could have had Zeke, and no one signed him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was just...
What are you getting?
I think that was just the Patriots leaking it out and being like, hey, if you want to make a stupid offer, we'll give you Zeke, but nobody did.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I wondered in the back of my head if the Cowboys maybe would have picked up the phone and called ahead of the divisional game with the Eagles, but nonetheless, Patriots deal nobody. So I wonder if that's going to resound, optimistic tone in the Patriots locker room, and you like the fact that they're playing at home as well, even though they played like dog shit at home.
You know what I like about the Pats this week?
Please tell me.
More Pop Douglas.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact. I
He's
hate
the one
Kendrick
positive on this team.
Kendrick Bourne going down with a torn ACL. I'm a big Kendrick Bourne fan.
I like him.
But Pop Douglas time. Got to get him in there and get him the ball. I think you'll see more of it. I'm curious to see what they can do with him. I'm trying to give you a bright spot.
He is a bright spot.
I've been in your shoes. I've been in your shoes for many years as a Niners fan.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Many years ahead in terms of rebuilding for the Patriots. Unfortunately, there. Seahawks, we did that one. We did that one too. Do you like any side with that Browns or Cardinals? Not the point total.
The number's getting a little out of control for me.
Yeah, Browns are favored by 8.
It would still be Browns or nothing because I just Clayton Tune. I don't even know how to power rate this team right now.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a stay away spot.
Yeah.
We got the Browns and Saints, Vikings and Falcons. Falcons are favored by 4.5. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that line has moved in the Falcons' favor more so, or is that where it opened?
I'm looking now, Tuck. This actually opened Atlanta -1, but that I believe this number is, hey, Kirk Cousins might play. I think it's like the look-ahead type open.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That I'm looking at.
Point total on this one is 37, and the Vikings and Falcons have combined to go under in 13 of 16 games, and we have new quarterbacks for both teams here with the Kirk Cousins injury. Jaron Hall will be making his debut, rookie quarterback for the Vikings. I know they acquired Josh Dobbs, but they're not going to throw him out in the fire in week 1. He's got to get maybe one more week acclimated to the playbook there.
Yeah.
Would expect Dobbs to play in week 10. And then on the other side of it, Desmond Ridder left the game with a concussion, it looked like, last week. So now we have Taylor Heineke making his debut. Who's better than Desmond Ridder?
Yeah, I think
let's call it what
Smith
it is.
knows that.
Yeah. And I wonder if, not to wish a concussion among any player, but you wonder if this is a blessing in disguise for the Atlanta Falcons offense there, because Ridder was so wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Not that Heineke's been a stud by any means, but he looks more than capable in his Commanders days there.
Totally.
So Falcons favored by 4.5. If I had to choose, I would lean the Falcons at home here. I could see the Falcons defense really showing up in a big way. And, the whole Bijan Robinson thing, by the way, like, they're still trying to, they are still very much have Tyler Algier mixed heavily into the snap count or touches, of Bijan Robinson. So I don't really know what's going on with Arthur Smith's head there.
No, not smart.
Bijan Robinson is an absolute stud.
Superior.
And they just keep going to Algier.
Yeah.
So if I had to lean, I would lean the Falcons 4.5 here, but ultimately it's a stay away.
Yep. Similar for me, too.
This one was very close to a like for me. Texans home favorites by 2.5. Point total here was 40. I was kind of leaning towards the Buccaneers on this one.
Let's talk about it, because I lean the other way.
At first, I was thinking the Texans, but when's like the last time, or how often, I should say, have the Texans been 3-point favorites here? And it has, some money has moved into the Buccaneers' direction here. I still don't fully believe in this Texans offense. Again, they're building to something very good there.
Yeah.
With Tank Dell and Nico Collins and CJ Stroud, but they cannot establish the run, it seems. And they just lost their starting center, too, I believe. And that line's been banged up the whole year. So I could see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers kind of causing a ruckus in the backfield this week with that injury. Buccaneers secondary can be thrown upon. That's my hesitation. But if I had to take a lean, it would be towards the Buccaneers. And it looks like Vegas agrees with me.
Yeah, I think it's very similar game to the Saints going into Houston, and when the Saints offense couldn't really get going at that time.
Right.
That's where Tampa is. Tampa's kind of going backwards with the offense. They're not, I don't know, Baker's just not playing as well as he was early on in the year.
That's a bad loss, though, by the Texans last week.
Yeah, but
that's a bad loss.
But it was expected. We both said
that wasn't expected.
We both said on the show,
you should take care of business in Carolina.
But
we had Carolina to cover.
Yeah, but
to outright lose, the Texans should have won that.
Carolina, well, it's a bad loss. You lose to a winless team. But we talked about this. The bye week came at a terrible time for Houston. They were playing really well, and it slows them down. There are times like where it's like, look at the 49ers. Is there a team besides Cincinnati who needed a bye more than the 49ers? No. This is a great bye spot for the Niners. For Houston, not so much. Slows them down. You're building something. You're a young team. You have a motivated head coach. You try to go in, and you're like, okay. But here's where I don't like Houston, and it's as favorites. I like playing them more in the underdog role. You give me 2 points, 1 point. I'm probably taking them in this spot. 2.5, I'm laying. No dice here. I do make the game Houston -2, but I don't want to play it when they're favorites, period.
Continuing with the 1 o'clock slate here, we have the Rams on the road in Lambeau Field. Packers now favored by 3.5 here. Point total is 39. This line screams to me that Matt Stafford is not healthy.
Oh, he's definitely not healthy.
Well, like with his UCL and his thumb. And I think there was some report that, hey, not a big deal. But this line says otherwise. This line says otherwise to me, and the Rams have now lost 2 in a row. Got their asses kicked last week in Dallas. So Rams should be a better team than this garbage Packers team. That's a lot of points for the Packers.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell's betting the Packers. How do you bet the Packers?
Jordan Love looks completely
lost. He's a backup
lost.
Quarterback.
Yeah,
that's what he is in this league. Backup quarterback. The team is lost. They can't get first downs. The whole first half was like watching 3 and out. It was like a terrible high school team. Run, punt, pass. Run, pass, punt. Run, pass, punt. I'm like, what is happening? This team is awful. Jordan Love is awful. How are they laying 3.5? I don't care how bad the Rams have looked. I don't care how bad the Rams have played. But I'm also not touching it because I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Rams yet.
Yeah.
And in the way they've played lately, I think they miss Kyron Williams a little bit.
They definitely miss him.
They definitely what's happening.
Miss him.
Their whole offense is like lost, and it's weird because they have weapons, but like they're so one-dimensional. Even though Henderson's played okay.
Yeah, but you still have
different.
Henderson, like he's looked fine, but like still he's not what Kieran Williams offers.
He's a step slower than he was last year. It's very clear.
Like
Henderson.
You had to game plan for Williams.
Yeah,
you clearly had to pay game plan for him, and he was a very dynamic back for that Rams offense and made them look really, with all the weapons, they looked like one of the top offenses in the league.
Yeah.
But that's a massive injury. I know he's a rookie and everything, but geez, what an impact player so far. So yeah, if I had to pick a side, if Stafford plays and he's truly healthy, like going to be okay, not, healthy, quote unquote, if the thumb's not a big deal, I'd take the Rams points here. It's just hard for me to see the Rams losing 3 in a row, let alone to this garbage Packers team. But no plays like we're kind of doing here.
Gross.
We have the Giants on the road to take on the Las Vegas Raiders, who are once again a complete laughingstock in this league. Nonetheless, they are favored by 1.5 in this one with their new coach, who goes by the name of I don't know.
It's Anthony Pierce. Is it
Anthony Pierce?
I think that's who they named.
And what was his role on the team to be elevated to head coach?
Ooh, good question. I think
was he quarterback's coach?
Let me see what No, he was on the defensive side. I don't know if he was
okay. Well, either way,
let me check.
Point total here is 37 here. The Raiders have gone under their team total in all 8 of their games so far this year. I think this speaks more to the Giants than anything.
Yeah.
The Giants are a complete joke. Now, their defense is finally turning it on, but to run Saquon Barkley 36 times last week, is that what it was?
Gross.
Into that offensive line, and he only had like 130-something rushing yards, too.
I mean, part of it was the quarterback situation when Tyrod went down.
Sure, you throw in Tommy DeVito there.
Just a guy that's out of the stands at Jersey.
That's not fair to Saquon, though.
No.
Throw Matt Breida here and there. Jesus. Yeah. That was literally your game plan, just running him into the ground against the Jets defense.
True.
That was unfair.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
So, I don't know. Do you have any, belief of the head coach getting fired, team rallying around said head coach getting fired and coming out with a victory here? Because that's what this line kind of says.
Yep, I do. The line opened 2.5. It's down to 1.5, and I can tell you I fully believe in that theory. I will be on Vegas this week. It's not official for me, but I will strongly... Well,
you had money coming in on the Giants then if they were 2.5.
It's fine. I ignore those things. That doesn't bother me. I truly believe that those Raiders players hated Josh McDaniels.
Oh, you could see it with Devontae on the sideline.
It came out. They benched Jimmy G. They're trying to make Devontae Adams happy, get him the football, get Josh Jacobs the football. You have no reason.
That's all they're going to do, yeah.
I mean, they have a good offense. They have decent enough offense that they should not be scoring 17 points, 17 points, 14 points. Too many weapons there. And, I mean, Jimmy G, as bad as it gets on Monday night, how many open passes did he miss? Missed Devontae by 20 yards.
And if Jimmy Garoppolo can't figure it out with Josh McDaniels, his old offensive coordinator with the Patriots, I don't know who he's going to figure it out with.
Put Kyle Shanahan in the Hall of Fame for what he did with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Seriously?
My God.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy looks good at times. Very well. But his performance on the other night,
he's looked awful all year, though. I mean, he's terrible. Aiden O'Connell's the right move.
Yep.
So I think the team rallies behind for one game. This is it. You can't go crazy. You get excited for the interim head coach. Think about Jeff Saturday last year for the Colts, Tuck, out of nowhere, right?
Good point.
Colts come in, the Colts start playing well. They rally around a new coach who believes in the new system. You get this new chance to have new life. So in that locker room right now, they're like, it's a new day. It's a new start. Start one day, and you get the Giants coming in.
Right.
I will be on the Vegas Raiders most likely.
Yeah, it would not shock me if Devontae Adams saw 15-plus targets and maybe had a double-digit catch game here. They're just going to feed him. It's just a question of, is Aiden O'Connell capable of delivering him that many targets?
Can't be any worse than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, but it does feel like a classic Josh Jacobs game.
Yeah, 1 catch, 11 yards, Devontae Adams last week.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's how frustrated he was, and part of me was hoping he was traded on Tuesday, so he could be relieved of whatever is going on in Vegas.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the guy. Really, I do. I mean,
I guess
not too bad because of the contract.
He did it to himself.
Well, no, he was traded there.
He wanted to go there. He made it pretty clear that he wanted to play with Derek Carr.
Well, rug was pulled out from under him, wasn't it?
Well.
They got rid of Derek Carr.
Imagine being a Vegas fan and being sold that Jimmy was better for that offense than Derek
Carr.
Well,
the other part of it is he knew Rodgers was gone.
Well, right. That is part of it.
So, I mean, you can't blame the guy
for
too
one
much.
and not be with Jordan Love.
Yeah. So that was our final batch before our best bet here. So why don't you kick it off with the best bet? And it's looking like you are looking at the Cincinnati and Buffalo matchup here. So take it away.
I sure am, Tucker. Cincinnati -2. Best bet. Boy, oh boy, do I love this.
I was leaning this direction too. I did not have a play though, but continue.
This is my second largest wager of my entire life.
Really?
Behind the Super Bowl when I was a little crazy last year, but that's because it was Patrick Mahomes getting points against a team that just beat my Niners.
Yep.
Excuse me. Need to clear the throat for this one because I am very animated and very excited here.
Take it away.
Okay, -2. I get one team getting healthier, and one team going in the complete opposite direction. I have Sunday Night Football at home, the better team, under a field goal. I don't understand this, and I'm happy I don't understand it because I love it. I just love Cincy here. So last week we saw Cincinnati coming off a bye. We talked about this being a little bit of my fear of the Niners side is no one needed to buy more than Cincinnati. Well, what did we get, Tuck? We got the Bengals of old. We got the Bengals of October. The Bengals starting to remind me a little bit of how the Patriots played in a way where September is like an extension of the preseason. Burrow is always a slow start. He just always feels like he's banged up in the preseason. Well, guess what? He's not banged up anymore.
He looked healthy last week.
He sure did.
Yep.
And he torched that 49ers D, which by the look of the eyes, you're like, what's wrong with the Niners? What's with their defense? The defense has struggled.
That was two straight weeks of giving up big games.
But I can promise you the defense played a lot better on Sunday than they did Monday night. They had pressures. Nick Bosa alone had 9 quarterback pressures. Like, you don't have numbers like this with quarterback pressures and still have a guy complete 21 passes in a row. He was just on fire. And that's Joe Burrow for you, healthy Joe Burrow. That's what happened to the Niners D last week. T. Higgins getting healthier. The offensive line for the first time in sync, healthy, playing. And who did that benefit? Not just Joe Burrow, but Joe Mixon played very clearly his best game of the season. He looked much better, right? Defenses can't just focus in on the run and shut Joe Mixon down for 2-yard runs when Joe Burrow is limping and not really running around.
A good game.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see more of that. So that's what I saw last week from Cincy. Well, what did I see from the Bills on Thursday night? I saw a banged-up Josh Allen struggle through a second half of that game where you're like, okay, the first half, you're like, okay, maybe the Bills are kind of getting back in their form. They're going in, they're beating a better team. And then the second half was more of the same of what we've seen with this Bills team. The injuries have mounted up on defense with Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White being
losses.
Hurt. Not for nothing, but the end of that game comes down to a Hail Mary where if Chris Godwin turns around, the Buccaneers actually win the game. The ball just dropped in the end zone, and he turned around too late, and he was open, he would have scored. So I love Cincinnati trending up. I still think something is wrong in Buffalo. The Josh Allen shoulder injury scares the hell out of me. Now, let's go back to last year, Tucker. Monday Night Football, regular season. Yep. Okay? Bills closed a 2-point favorite in Cincy. Okay? So what do we see? Well, we saw Cincinnati get the opening kickoff right down the field, 7-0. Bills immediately 3-0 punt. We start to see Cincy go down the field again, and then the unfortunate situation with Damar Hamlin obviously ends that game right then and there. But we were about to see Cincy ass-kicking in that game. So what do we get in the playoffs? Well, now Cincinnati has to go to Buffalo, and they close 5.5-point dogs. And I remember being on Cincinnati that day, and I remember the ass-kicking they put on Buffalo in the playoffs because Joe Burrow is that dude, and you're about to see the best team in the AFC now is coming. So we said the 1 seed's open. I'm not sure they're going to end up with it. I'm not sure they're going to need it. I think Cincinnati, they play like they did last week, and I expect them to. As they get healthier, they're going to ascend to the best team in the AFC. I think with Joe Burrow, he's the most confident, and there's one guy who does not fear Patrick Mahomes. That's Joe Burrow. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Bills by a touchdown or more in this game. I love getting under a field goal.
Would you place a wager on an adjusted spread for this one, -7?
I don't play adjusted spreads. You guys can do it if you want.
I wonder what the odds are in that, though.
I mean, I think they're going to win by 7. I do. I don't make the game 7. I make it 3.5. But I just love what the Cincy team's about to do. I think they're going to explode.
Yeah.
They just remind me, like I said earlier, like those Patriot teams that once October hits, they turn that calendar and they just start playing football. Well, now it's November, and they're about to put the foot on the gas because they need to. They can't lose. They had a couple tough losses earlier in the season. They need to win these games. This is their game. They're going to bury the Bills.
A couple of notes here on this one. Josh Allen was listed questionable with a shoulder injury, limited in practice on Wednesday, and they also signed Leonard Fournette to the practice squad, which I thought was an interesting signing. I lean Cincinnati as well. I have no play. I hesitated on this one because the Bills are 13-6-1 against the spread in their last 20 home games as an underdog. And the last time they were underdogs was December 26th of 2021.
Road games? Road games or home games?
Or excuse me, are they home or on the road?
They're on the road.
Oh, excuse me. So that would be road games for that one, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels like that the Bills have been playing down when they have a down opponent, and they just don't really put the pedal to the metal, if you will. So I wonder if they show up for this one because they've heard it. They know all the question marks around this team. They've heard it, definitely. And I understand they've had a lot of injuries there, but this seems like they could show up and play tight here.
Possibly. I also don't know how well coached the Bills are. I think the Sean McDermott I don't know. He's fine, but seems like when they're in some trouble, I don't know how much rah-rah they're getting out of him anymore.
Right.
I don't know. I've said this before to you, Tuck. I feel like the Bills' window is closing at a rapid pace, and it almost feels like it has closed the way that they're playing. But they're still a good team, but I don't think that I love Cincy here.
All right, my best bet, taking a different approach. Like I said, I'm going to go with a point total here. Give me the Colts and Panthers over 44 points on this one. The Colts, they are one of the NFL's fastest-paced offensives going. The Colts' last 3 games have gone over an average 66.3 points per game by over 13 or more points as well. Overall, this year, they have point totals of 52, 51, 41, 52, 39, 57, 77, and 65. Gardner Minshew is absolutely delivering for this offense. Love what he's been doing with Josh Downs. Michael Pittman has been fine. Jonathan Taylor is looking more and more like the Jonathan Taylor of old, although it looks like he had a little bit of a limp in the second half of last week.
A little Zach Moss still, though.
Yeah, but still, Taylor had 90-plus rushing yards in the first half last week. And on top of that, from the Panthers' point of view, you got to like the Panthers coming off a win. They had their bye week. They changed their play caller to Thomas Bryant. O'Brien? I forget his name. Thomas Bryant?
Brian, I think.
Let me Google that one. Whatever. They changed their offensive play caller there. Yes. So you got to like that. Take the reins from Frank Reich.
Yep.
Liked what I saw a little bit of Bryce Young last week. A step in the right direction there. And they're accepting the fact that Miles Sanders just sucks.
Yep.
And he is more of a complimentary back to Chuba Hubbard there, who looks like the guy in that backfield. So bad free agent signing, yes, but Panthers offense, arrow pointing up, if you ask me. Jonathan Mingo, by the way, rookie wideout, has taken some nice strides over the past couple of weeks. So 44 seems really low for me on this one here.
Yeah,
so give me the Colts and Panthers over 44. Best bet. Let's turn it around finally, for the love of God. I can't go 2-7. It can't happen.
No.
It can't happen.
No, can't happen. Can't happen.
What if it happens?
Well, then it can happen.
That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem there. But that's the different approach for me this week, hoping to turn it around.
Hey, what about our no-play Thursday night? We don't bet Thursday night football.
Thursday night. We don't play Thursday night football.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee, we don't play.
Give me the under of 12.
Yeah, I like the Steelers to cover -2.5.
Steelers are favored by 3, 36.5 point total here. I could get behind the Steelers.
There's 2.5 out there.
2.5
Plenty
out there?
of 2.5 out there.
I mean, it's going to be a tough task for Will
Levis short week going into Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tough task there. Oh, and by the way, just real quick, I know we're bouncing all over the place now. Bills coming off a mini bye.
Yeah, not worried.
Thursday Night Football.
They're gonna
mini bye.
They're going to need it.
All right. Well, there you go. All right, so just to recap, for Week 9, we have the Chiefs -1.5, Saints -7.5, double like, Seahawks +6, a double like, Browns, Cardinals under 37.5, New York Jets +3, best bets, Cincinnati -2, Colts, Panthers over 44.
In Philly -3.
Oh, I skipped one. Philly -3. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. If you haven't done so already, please, I can't talk today. I really can't.
That's a problem when you're doing a podcast.
I'm hosting a goddamn podcast and I can't talk. Yeah. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to us on YouTube, for the love of Jesus.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on Instagram, where we post clips, and on Twitter @BettorInLaws.
Yes.
Give us 5 stars. Give us a follow on Spotify, Apple, you name it. Leave us a review if you could. Anything you guys do will help us immensely. Thank you to Big Night Media for hosting us here at the Card Vault Studios at TD Garden. Probably should have let off with that one.
That's all right.
Thank you to our producer, Hurley. We'll be in a different location next week because Hurley will be on a much-deserved vacation.
Yes.
And then we have a very special guest joining us in 2 weeks, which we'll announce next week. You'll have to stay tuned for that. A very special guest that I am excited
Very excited about this.
to be at these TD Garden studios here. I am Tuck Silva. He is Matt Prisco. Thank you, Matt. Any other wrap-up thoughts for you?
Nothing. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Joey B.
I hope you're right. I do want the Bengals to smash the Bills.
Best bet, 7-2.
I love it. All right. Thank you, everybody. And good luck in your week 9. And we'll see you next week.
Take
care.
Bye-bye.